right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. All blessings, honor, glory, and power be unto the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh, whose only begotten Son, our Lord and our Savior, whose name is Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and salutations to the elect scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. My name is Amon Gabar, and I'm back with another quick lesson, Lord willing, edifying straight to the point. And the title of this video, as you see, is a newer and greater Passover is coming for the Israelites of the Lord's elect. All right, again, a newer and a greater Passover is coming for the Israelites of the Lord's elect, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's elect. All right, and as we know, Passover it quickly approaches us. Excuse me. But Passover is on the rise. Thursday at evening. At sundown will be the Pesach, and I was just briefly, long story short, I was running it down with my seeds. One of my two eldest, a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old, and I was just running it down with them. What's the meaning behind the Passover? Both of them, female and a male, and they gave me 100% accurate answers, to say the most. Beautiful answers from both of them, and they know what's going on. As I was meditating before I did this video, but a lot of our seeds, not all of them, but a lot of our seeds for certain brothers, damn near was born into this truth, because certain brothers was out there teaching the word, before they had seeds, and then you had seeds while coming into this truth. Therefore, some brothers have seeds who you can say and we can say were actually born into this faith and born into this truth, which is a beautiful thing. Shows you that we ain't got no 1,000 years here in Babylon. The scriptures tell us about he that teacheth his own seed grieve the enemy, in so many words. So one of Esau's biggest thing was blocking his truth from us. But now you have a generation of we have a generation of nigglets, YNs they call them, destined for destruction and doom, and pretty much they're going to be wilderness food and missile food and chip food. And then on the flip side, you have brothers out there who have families that are going to make it, under your banner, so to speak, under your umbrella, which is a beautiful thing. And I'm saying all of this because it all ties in with the Passover. And if you know the significance of the Passover, which goes back and dates back to Exodus, the book of Exodus, which is found in the KJV. You read Exodus 12th chapter, the Lord gives you the rundown on how to conduct the Passover. And prior to that and after that, there's a whole laundry list of things and pretty much judgment that took place in Egypt. And there's going to be another situation where the Lord is going to judge this place, and there's going to be a tremendous amount of judgment that's going to take place here in Egypt, and that's why I entitled this video, a newer and greater Passover is coming, a newer Passover, and that's scriptural, all right, and greater Passover, which that's also scriptural, and it's coming, for the Israelites of the Lord's elect, all right, where the Lord is going to pass over the household of faith, those that are faithful and that are ultimately part of the Lord's elect. The Lord is going to pass over them. So you brothers out there that are doing the work, faithful in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, diligent, whatever your situation may be, as long as you keep pushing, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Adonai Ratazah, passes over you and us when this destruction comes, because it is going to come. And this whole world is going to be taken by storm when this shit goes down. So without further ado, I'm going to go to the scripture. And Lord willing, I'm going to try to make this quick, fast, straight to the point. I'm Baratazah within a 30-minute time frame. I got some things to do, and it's a crazy week at work, so trying to wrap shit up. And use time wisely, so to speak. So this is all Jeremiah 16, and I'm gonna start at 14, which is the point. And the subheading is God will restore them. And Jeremiah 16 and 14 says, "Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that it shall no more be said." So the time is going to come. All right, thus saith the Lord. The time is going to come where it's not going to be spoken about. What's not going to be spoken about? It says that it shall no more be said that the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. So the story of the Exodus 12, there's going to be a whole new story in the kingdom of heaven to talk about. This is a future prophecy. It's not going to be spoken of on this side. All right. When it says the days come, it shall no more be said, it's not talking about on this side. That's talking about in the kingdom of heaven. All right. Until America is destroyed and until the Lord's elect is delivered, until we see the destruction of our enemy, until we, Lord willing, beamed up in them chariots, there ain't nothing to be said. All we can do is prophesy about this said coming event. But until it actually happens, that's when this prophecy will be fulfilled. So I read it again. "Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said that the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt," ancient Egypt, which is what we're commemorating and keeping in the name of a memorial, all right, which is part of the commandments to keep the Passover, about what the Lord did in ancient Egypt. That's why Israelites throughout history kept the Passover. Yahushua kept the Passover, and Yahushua became the Passover. He became the sacrifice of the Passover during his time, and that's the Passover we keep. All right, the same way we keep the customs of ancient Egypt and the Passover that took place during that time, according to Exodus, the 12th chapter, in alignment with Matthew, the 26th chapter, when Yahushua kept his Passover. That's why during the Passover that we keep, we read both scriptures. We go into both chapters, Matthew 26 and also Exodus 12. So reading on verse 15, it says, "But," so now this was going to be talked about. It says, "But the Lord Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north." And we truly believe that we will be, Abaratas, when I say we will be delivered in this lifetime, this is the lifetime. This is the generation. That's why I opened up the way I opened up. Brothers, raising their seeds up, in his faith and his truth and his knowledge. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and I know you brothers out there that are in that situation, you can attest to that. It's a beautiful thing. The enemy's grieved by that. Matter of fact, can a brother please put that up there about whoso teach his son grieve the enemy, something along those lines. And that's the sons, starting with the sons, because the sons are the leaders, the warriors, the heads. Hey, it's a beautiful thing, man. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. The Lord is, and that's why I always say, God's talking about we're gonna be here for X amount of time, as if the Lord is gonna, we're gonna get up in age. Myself going up in age. It's fucking, if I make it. I mean, Lowell, I don't gotta make it there. Lowell, none of us gotta make it there. Up in your damn 70s and shit, getting ready to die, and then a future generation of prophets got to rise up to do what we did in a society, in a dystopian society where the so-called white man plans to chip you and merge you with artificial intelligence and to cause you to eat foods that are abominable and cause you to worship a one-world government. That's impossible. This is the generation where Yahushua is getting ready to come back and visit. Point blank period, no comma. So is no all that bullshit. And I'm speaking on it, but I ain't gonna go into it. But all that shit about the Lord could come between now and within 1,000 years, that's bullshit. And anybody that even think like that, you're not part of the Lord's elect. If you can utter those words out of your mouth and rationalize that thought within yourself, to say that it's a possibility that the Lord could come between now and 1,000 years, you're not part of the Lord's elect. You're not hastening the coming of the Lord. You're not hastening in these times. So that's you already scratched off the list. You know, the disciples, when Yahushua came after his crucifixion, you know, what they asked, Lord, art thou at this time come to restore the kingdom of Israel? And the Lord says, not for you to know the times or the season. Hold on. Sun went down already, so daylight is gone. So use the artificial light. So anyway, you know, your mind is far from the Most High and His only begotten Son if you think we're going to be here for another 1,000 years, 500 years, 250 years, all right, 175 years, or whatever, just 100 years, 50 years, 20 years, 10 years. I could keep on going down. You know, the Lord, the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushua once wished and hoped and prayed that Yahushua would have came yesterday. But we know prophecies must be fulfilled, you know, and that's the main thing. And that's also going to give glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua as far as prophecy being fulfilled, because here it is, you got Israelites that are scoffing and mocking when it comes down to the mark of the beast, the MOTB. You know, eventually, you know, I was at work today, had a long shift, but I was watching a bunch of videos, or listening to a bunch of videos on my earbuds or whatever. You know, listening to some Apostle Tahar's videos, mostly Apostle Tahar's videos, the long ones, because, you know, edifying, of course, and also, you know, the day go by super quick. But just listening to these scoffers and bug outs from these other camps, you know, talking down on us, you know, the men of GMS from the apostles on down, they're gonna have to answer to that, you know, especially the IUIC. You know, you're gonna have to give an answer when that chip is made mandatory. You know, when that chip is made mandatory, and brothers and you few sisters believe it's gonna be made mandatory in this lifetime, very soon. I can't tell you when, but in this lifetime, in your present situation and age and however you living right now, it's gonna happen. You know, it's gonna happen. Trump is all big on digital currencies and all of this shit now. Why? You know, look who's by his side. The man behind the brain chip himself. So we are definitely in this time. We are definitely in that time. You know, and then shall be known that a prophet has been among them. So this is that lifetime. All right, prophet or prophesy means to say before it happens. So now that it's happening and looking like it's happening, that's, you know, it's going to come to fruition. And that's when it's going to be made known that a prophet had been among them. So anyway, Jeremiah 16 and 15 is going to be said, but the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the North America. All right, because this is the land where the great deliverance is going to take place, because this is where the great destruction is going to take place. North America. All right, Babylon the Great. It says, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. So all the lands where we have been scattered, you have elect members from amongst those nations, and they will be delivered by them chariots, and to meet Yahushai in the air. All right, like picture like like smaller shuttle ships going around, or smaller shuttle ships that have angels operating them, going throughout the four corners of the earth, collecting the elect, and then all reaching up at a like Esau say, like a rendezvous, you know, a central point or a checkpoint, which will be the father ship, and all them ships just go up into Yahushai's giant ship, like Ezra seen it. You know, he seen it like it was a mountain, you know, and he looked to see if a mountain was carved out, but he couldn't see it because it wasn't a mountain. It was an actual ship. It was Yahushai's ship that he's going to come with. You know, so brothers that are not in America, that are in Babylon, that are not in Babylon, but throughout the four corners of the earth, there's going to be ships out there to collect you and your family and your loved ones, and you few sisters out there that are scattered abroad too, and whoever's destined to make it. You know, because we understand that the 1/3 and the 2/3, you know, pursuing in Zechariah the 13th chapter, is talking about America. When it says in all the land, it's talking about Babylon the Great. You know, but you have the rebels, you know, you could call them rebels, that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, that the Lord is going to bring and slay. You know, like the Lord said, bring them hither and slay them that will not worship. So anyway, reading on, from all the land, from the land of the north, and from all the land whither he had driven them, and will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. So that's the great, and that's the newer and the greatest deliverance that's getting ready to take place here on the planet Earth. All right, the Passover. This Passover is gonna in other words, is gonna overshadow the Passover that happened in ancient Egypt. It's not even gonna be spoken about. It's gonna pale in comparison compared to what the Lord did to the Egyptians. You know, the plagues that we read about, the destruction, the death of the firstborn. Imagine the firstborns in this society, people, you know, just dying, or children. Imagine people's children just dying. People are gonna lose their mind. We have brothers out here, you know, and you sisters, you have children. Imagine you lose them. Would you not mourn and weep? You know, for you, like a woman mourning for her only son. You know, so imagine the Egyptians. You know, regardless of the race, you know, a child is a child in their eyes, and they lost a loved one dear to them. That's the judgment of the Lord, and it's gonna happen on this side again. And it ain't just gonna be the firstborn; it's gonna be entire households. You know, you scoffers out there that scoff against the men of the Lord, Most High is gonna judge you and your household. Like one scoffer came up on one video that I put up last before this one, saying some dumb shit. I ain't had no time of the day. So curses upon that nigga in his household, you know. And you know what? Just like, and that's all right. Just like how the Lord, you know, Achan, remember the nigga Achan from the scriptures? I believe it was the book of Judges. The Lord commanded Israel to do something, all right, to destroy all the Babylonian possessions and all of that. You know, one nigga named Achan didn't do it. He kept possessions for himself, and he kept the Babylonian garment, I believe gold, silver, whatnot, hidden under his tent. Israel started losing because this nigga brought a curse to Israel for disobedience. So the Most High killed that nigga, and not just killed him, he killed his entire fucking household. So for those that think, oh, that's mean, what did his household do? Well, the Lord, yeah, listen, you ain't see mean until you see Yahweh Shemi Shai's wrath. All right? So for you scoffers out here who got the time of the day to be going on brothers' pages, all right, edifying, you know, to edify the elect and feed the sheep, and you scoffing, you just bringing a curse upon yourself and your entire household. All right, and may the curse of Egypt fall upon you during the time of the Exodus. And may Yahweh Shemi Shai do not pass over you when all hell break loose and the destruction come. You know? Because that's another thing we do. During the Passover, we send up curses upon Babylon. You know, we send up curses upon Babylon. We send up the blessings upon the elect, the men that are doing this work, their household. But for you niggas out there, we don't give a flying fuck about you. All right? When you end up in the news somewhere, we going to just say it's judgment from the Lord and do a video about your ass. All right? And then we moving on until the Lord brings his wrath. And that's how we feel about you, all you scoffers. So let me read on. I'm going to go to my bookmarks and get some scriptures. So actually, let me go to the comic book because I seen a brother had put up what I quoted or asked for. Yeah, Salvation of the Elect put up Ecclesiasticus chapter 30 and 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Exactly. You teach your son. Yaramai Kazak put it up too, and Dawada and Yasharala the Hope Elect, the Water brothers. You know, he that teacheth his son in righteousness, you grieve the enemy. You grieve the enemy because the enemy wants your son to grow up as a GMO child. He wants to control your son. All right. You control the son, you control the man. All right. If the enemy controls the son, he creates what that man will be in the future. But if you are dictating what your son will become in the future in righteousness, of course the enemy's gonna be mad, because here it is, in the enemy's eyes, he conquered us. But us gaining control over our household again, it grieves the enemy. And we have that control to an extent. All right, not 100%, but to an extent. And we could just do the best we can at the end of the day. Even for you brothers out there that may not be, you know, have your seeds abiding with you. They good. They good. As long as you good, they good. As long as the head is good, the body's good. and that's the fruit of your body. They good. You know, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, focus on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and they're good. They're more than good. You know, and the wicked witch from the west that took them away from you, she gonna get it. You know, she gonna get it. The Lord is gonna answer your prayers in due time for whoever this may apply to. You know, but he that teacheth the son, he teacheth his son, grieveth the enemy. You know, his blood boiling. You saw blood boiling because your son ain't conforming to his bullshit ass Bati boy system and all that society. You know, your son is stern. He takes after his pops. You know, Esau hate that shit, but fuck Esau. Esau raising little lady boys. You know what I'm saying? And weirdos, fairies and shit. Fuck all that. We Israelite men. We ain't about that life. So he that teaches his son grieves the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice in him. Yeah, you gonna brag about your son. Yeah. Yo. Guess what my son said the other day, bro? Bro had a dream that he Edomites in slavery. He said, "Yo, Abba, I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have that in real life." You know, that's just an example. You know, and before his friends he shall rejoice in him. So you like bragging about your kid. You know, some of your parents may be like, "Look at my son." Every time, you know, West Indian parents is big on that. Every time they have family and friends over, they always call you from minding your business and be like, "Look at my son," and you standing there like a damn statue on display. And you're like, "Okay, can I leave now?" You know, so it'd be like that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So the water for putting that up. That was the precept I called for. All right. I'm gonna read this 2 Peter 3:12. Jeremiah Kazak, 2 Peter 3:12, looking for and hasting. All right, the key word is hasting to the coming of the day of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, which Yahushai is coming back, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. All right, so we are hastening for this destruction to happen, bro, and it's looking real beautiful, man. It's definitely gonna happen soon. You know, patience is key. You know, patience is key. Plug this phone in. Battery about to die. All right. All right, let me go back to my bookmarks. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 31. Actually, 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun and the moon be darkened. Shall the sun be darkened, excuse me, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heavens shall be shaken. All right, so immediately after the tribulation of those days, and you know, through the spirit, like the apostle Paul was saying, you know, when this chip is made mandatory, things are going to speed up. It's going to be a thing within a month or months, a few months, if that. You know what I'm saying? Once this chip is made mandatory and this devil come down with that wrath, knowing that he have a short time, it's going to be within weeks. You know what I'm saying? It has to be. Because according to Matthew 24, when was it 22? 22, except them days be short and no flesh shall be saved. But for the elect's sake, them days shall be shortened. Okay, that's why it says again, immediately, because when that chip is made mandatory, it'll be a time of tribulation. It'll be a time of trouble. You know, it's gonna be a troublesome event, you know, for the Israelites. You know, the scriptures call it the hour of temptation. Temptation and trial is synonymous with trouble and tribulation. It's not gonna be an easy thing for the most of these people, but for the Lord's elect who trusted in the Lord, this is gonna be an easy thing. It's gonna be a no-brainer. Or they implement the chip. The minute they fucking bring that shit out in the news and say they're implementing a nationwide mandate for the chip, boy, we gonna rejoice like a motherfucker because we know what's next. You think we gonna get scared and buckle and our knees gonna buckle? I'm talking about the men that are faithful about this thing. We gonna buckle and all of a sudden we scared and rethinking our life all over again. And the things we been speaking, not me, not fucking me. You know, and I hope and pray that the Lord keep that spirit on me. You know, I'm going to rejoice like a motherfucker. The biggest I told you so in history. And I could do that. You know, I rub it in a motherfucker's face. Told you, motherfucker. Told you, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Told you. You know, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, of course. But we're going to be so excited that, you know, brothers going to be fucking damn near going ape shit, so to speak, man. In a good way. You know, I can't wait, man. You know, if YouTube is still present, all these bug outs scattering and hitting you brothers up, hitting us up, you know, asking questions, all the shaloms and blah blah blah. Watch your page skyrocket, and you know that's if it's still available. If so, anyway, immediately after the tribulational troubles of those days, shall the sun and the moon. I'm sorry, shall the sun be darkened and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Which that's when the Lord is coming back. That's when Yahweh Shah is coming back to bring what? That destruction. Verse 30 says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. The sign, behold, he comes with clouds. You know, Acts, the book of Acts, when Yahweh Shah was taken up, they said, the angel said, just like how you see him leaving, that's how he's coming back. That's part of the signs. It was already told to us. All right. It says, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. The greatest Passover. All right, the greatest Passover, the newer and greater Passover is coming. Yahweh Shai is coming back. Our Passover. It said, this is Yahweh Shai's Passover, man. When I say our Passover, Yahweh Shai's Passover. One body in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, the real one body. While you're going to have Israelites out there celebrating, making money, you know, after they little Israelite party and they fashion shows and break dance and freestyle battles and marriages, they gonna wake up the next morning after being all saucy and counting that bank. They gonna be counting. They gonna check their Bank of America accounts or whatever, Cash Apps and PayPal's, and see how much donations they got for having the illest and greatest Israelite party ever on the Lord's Passover. You think the Lord Yahweh Shah is gonna pass over them when He brings judgment? When Ezekiel, was it the 9th chapter, come to pass, slay utterly old and young? These people don't even know what time it is, bro. So, verse 31, and he shall send his angels with a great a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So that's the great deliverance that's going to happen. That's the Lord delivering the children of Israel, not just from Egypt, modern day America, or modern day Egypt, which is America, but also from the four corners of the planet Earth. All right. It says, well, that's the point. Now, this is a parable. Now, learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know the summer is nigh. And you false prophet Israelites out there, can you not see that the branches are tender? Literally. All right, here we are, March the 11th, 2025, the hopeful year of our deliverance and the destruction and judgment upon Esau, Edom. You about to see the branches out there get tender and bursting with nutrients to allow the buds to bud, which is going to bring forth leaves and fruits, right? Whatever grows from a tree. It's not brittle. In the wintertime, it's brittle. You could snap a branch like a twig, you know, snap a twig and it cracks. But in the summertime, it bends because it's more lubricated. It's more gushing with nutrients and water. It's not dried up, you know? So that's the parable. Again, learn the parable of the fig tree. When the branch is tender and put it forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. You see them buds coming out, you know summer's nigh. Yeah. We in spring. Like today was a good day out here in the East Coast. It was real good. You know, working outside in the field and shit. I could appreciate a day like today. You know, nice. You know, working weather, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? It's sad I gotta say working weather because it should be enjoying yourself weather, but hey, we subject to work. It is what it is. But you know, next thing you know, that you see them branches, budding, leaves getting green, grass growing. You could see that. You know, you could discern that. Like the Lord said, you could discern the times, but you can't discern. You could discern the season, but you can't determine the time of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. That's some false prophets talking about 1,000 years, nigga. The branches is tender right now, and they putting forth leaves, and you talking about 1,000 years, nigga. You could stay in, if it was a, you could stay in Babylon 1,000 years yourself. Not us, not me. I don't want to fucking be here no damn 1,000 years. Fuck out of here. Niggas is comfortable in Babylon. That's what happened. It says, anyway, excuse me, Salakia. It says, when his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. All right? Like when somebody say, yo, I'm on my way. The next thing you know, yo, I'm outside, I'm at the door. You better run and open that door before you have somebody waiting on your ass. Excuse me. You know, the Lord already said he's on his way, so he showed us the prophecies. Now he's about to say, yo, I'm at the door. He's at the door. You know, you're going to have the Lord waiting. Oh, I'm coming, Lord. You know, let me get ready. No, you better be ready. You better be ready. When the Lord come knocking at that door, like the scriptures say in Revelation, I stand at the door and knock. If any man open up, brother, put that up, please, Baba Kashah. I will come in unto him. You know, please put that up for me. You know, I'm gonna read it again. So likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. And verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So only the Lord knows. All right, the brother put it up, Spiritual Arc 144K, Revelation 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Yahweh Shai, he's knocking at the door. When somebody come knocking at the door, listen, Yahweh, you don't want to avoid Yahweh Shai. You could avoid Jehovah's Witness. You could avoid the sheriff, sheriff trying to serve you a damn, a warrant or whatever the fuck. You know, I forget the other shit they serve you as to pay the court, or whatever. But yeah, you don't want to ignore the Lord like that. You know, Yahweh Shai come knocking at the door, you better answer. Now is he knocking via the prophets? Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice, if you hear the Lord's voice, and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. So you brothers out there that heard the word, that was the Lord knocking. Knock, you open the door. You don't go run hiding, like kids do. Kids, when they hear somebody knocking at the door, they run and they hide and like somebody at the door. It's an adrenaline effect for a child when somebody knock at the door. But you hear the knocking, you better answer that door, see who it is, and answer. If you don't recognize Yahweh Shai, that means he ain't dealing with you. If you don't hear his voice, that means he ain't dealing with you. So verse 36, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and giving into marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark. And guess what? A lot of Israelites are going to be keeping their Passover, eating, drinking, marrying, and giving into marriage, literally. They're not eating in the name of Yahweh Shai and his body being a sacrifice and his blood being a sacrifice, but more so eating for a festive event. Marrying, literally marrying each other and having fucking auctioning blocks for single people. Until the day that Noah entered into the ark and knew not until the flood came, which another flood is coming. And that's when the Lord sends the enemy with great wrath. Esau Edom with great wrath. The enemy shall come like a flood. It says, and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So, long story short, man, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is getting ready to send great wrath here in Babylon, and he's going to send a flood. The blood moon is going to take place, which the Passover is always on a full moon, and you're going to have a blood moon, a rare blood moon happening this Passover, which is highly significant through the spirit. I believe. The Lord said you shall see signs in the heavens and in the moon and the stars and the sun. So that's just things to look forward to, man, So I'm going to wrap it up. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep this quick, fast, straight to the point. Again, a newer and greater Passover is coming for the Israelites of the Lord's elect. And, plenty more precepts could have came out. If the spirit hit, I'll do, whatever precepts I didn't bring out. If I don't bring it out, within the next day or two, we're going to, Lord willing, our brothers are going to have we're going to do a Passover sit down, a pre-Passover class sit down, so to speak, before the actual Passat. And, whatever scriptures class, to edify the Lord's elect come out, it's going to come out. So I'm in today, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Barak Thumb to the Lord's elect. Know why you keeping the Passover. Know what it's about, know the significance, know why you're here, know what you in here for. And just know that all hell is getting ready to break loose, shit getting ready to hit the fan, and you want Yahweh Shai to pass over you when he send them death angels, when he send them angels to destroy the enemy, the Edomites, two-thirds got to get it. I can't stand niggas. I can't stand niggas. I remember hearing the apostles say, just to veer off real quick, the apostles used to say back in the day, 34th, the early days, how about jumping over Esau to get to niggas? I understand. I fucking stand now. Not just now, but I understand. Like a nigga ain't got shit to say, bro. You gonna get it. You sell out ass niggas, you gonna get it. I can't stand a nigga. Cause a nigga's supposed to be your own people, but they not. They worse than the enemy because the enemy is known to be an enemy. A snake is known to be a snake. So for you niggas out there, man, especially you of Israel that know you're Israelites, you're going to get it worse. And that's scriptural. You're going to be beaten with more stripes than those who didn't know. You niggas, you leaders of Israel that are niggas, you other camps that are niggas, and you coming down on the true men of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, just like how the Most High judges nigga Alizé, you other niggas are gonna get it too. All right, more judgment. Judgment season is coming for you niggas. And I was watching Apostle videos earlier. He was getting on, talking about the IUIC, and them are some niggas, hypocritical niggas. Proud ass niggas. And may Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai judge all you niggas this Passover. If not this Passover, sometime soon. So anyway, with that, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Barak Thumb to the Lord's elect. Till next time, Shalom.